Ivana Trump, first wife of former President Donald Trump and mother to his 3 oldest children, dies in her Manhattan apartment. Paramedics rushing to the scene after receiving a call about someone in cardiac arrest. Her son Eric saying that his mother was a survivor. The former president adding that she led a great and inspirational life. COVID resurgence gaining speed. COVID deaths in the U.S. on the rise for the first time in months. Nearly 350 patients dying every day. The highly infectious BA.5 subvariant sending case numbers to their highest point since February. One major city even considering reinstating an indoor mask mandate. Coming up, my conversation with Dr. Anthony Fauci about what's different with this strain and how masks are still an important way to protect yourself.
Just because people are not wearing masks is not a reason for you not to wear a mask, because you can still protect yourself very well with a properly fitted, adequate mask.
Mission in the Middle East. President Biden in Israel appearing with the Prime Minister just days before a controversial trip to Saudi Arabia. Will he address the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi? Our Mary Bruce is traveling with the president and joins us tonight. Forced out of Ukraine and into Russian filtration camps. Tonight, refugees tell their harrowing story to our Inez de la Catera about how they were trapped, interrogated, and used as pawns. Netflix and ads? The streaming service sharing new details about its ad-supported subscription plan. How much will it cost? How will it work? And why is the streaming giant headed in that direction? We're asking the experts. And good evening, I'm Phil Lipoff in for Lindsay Davis tonight. Thanks so much for streaming with us. It may be the dog days of summer, and almost all of us have pandemic fatigue nearly 2.5 years in, but tonight we are once again facing the prospect of another major wave as the newest subvariant takes hold. BA.5 is the latest, and it's showing an ability to evade antibodies. Some people are getting COVID for the first time. Others are getting it again and again, and sometimes just weeks apart. Cases are up 14% in just the past week, and that could be a major undercount as well, with so many testing positive with those at-home tests and not reporting it to anyone. On average, nearly 350 Americans are dying every day now, but those who are vaccinated remain protected against severe disease. Cities and states are now responding to the latest wave. In Los Angeles County, the most populous in the nation, officials moved today to return to mandatory masking indoors. And that is where Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman leads us off tonight.
Tonight, the nation's largest county is on track to return to an indoor mask mandate in 2 weeks.
We're saying there is need to worry. This variant is, as everybody has noted, highly infectious, easily transmitted.
L.A. County, home to 10 million people, now seeing high COVID transmission. Hospitalizations up 88% in L.A. County and doubling across the country since April.
You have to be as prudent and careful as possible.
This latest wave fueled by that highly transmissible subvariant, BA.5.
We do know it to be more transmissible and more immune evading.
And the number of Americans dying of COVID is once again climbing, up 10% in just the last week. Nearly 350 deaths reported every day. But in New York City, where new cases are up 30% in the past 2 weeks, officials have scrapped their color-coded COVID alert system and are working on a new one. Many don't want to take a step back.
I don't feel like I need to wear a mask at this point.
And it's not just on the coasts. 3/4 of Americans are now living in counties at medium or high risk for COVID. So the CDC is urging people in those high-risk areas to mask up indoors and those in medium-risk areas to consider masking based on individual risk.
Matt Gutman from Los Angeles, thank you. And with the COVID-19 infection rate rising again, we wanted to get some up-to-date information on this particular variant. What's different this time, and what do we need to do to protect ourselves and our loved ones? Dr. Anthony Fauci, President Biden's top advisor on COVID-19, joins me now to talk a little bit more about this. Dr. Fauci, thanks so much for taking the time. We know you're busy.
Good to be with you. Thank you for having me.
For much of the pandemic, there has been this sort of conventional wisdom that if you've recovered from COVID, you have some level of antibody protection, at least for a period of time. Is that true? If so, is it still true with BA.5?
Yes, it is true. The thing about BA.5 that is disconcerting is that it is able to escape some of the immune protection that you get from prior infection as well as vaccination. The good news is that vaccinated and boosted people, particularly those who receive the full component of the boosting, are generally pretty well protected against severe disease leading to hospitalization and, unfortunately, in some cases, to death. But it is a evading type of a variant because it does evade to a greater extent the protection that you would have gotten from a vaccine. So in other words, it has a transmission advantage over the prior variants. It's something that we can do something about. Part of your second question is that we can, in fact, do something about that by getting vaccinated, by getting boosted. If you're in an area where there's a high density or dynamic of infection, and the CDC coding of that puts you in what's called an orange zone, then it is recommended that you wear a mask in an indoor congregate setting, as well as getting tested to see if you might be positive and not really know it because you have minimal or no symptoms, to protect family members and those to whom you come in contact with. Those are the kind of things we do. And we also have good antiviral drugs. So if a person, particularly someone at high risk because of age or underlying condition, gets infected, they should know that there are good antivirals like Paxlovid and a monoclonal antibody, bebtelovimab, that are available.
Well, since you mentioned Paxlovid, let's talk about that for a minute. I know you have some experience with that particular drug. You took it when you had COVID. A lot of people have been taking it, but I'm interested because my own personal example, I had COVID along with my wife. She was suggested to take it. My doctor said, don't take it because of the potential of a relapse a couple weeks out. So let's get the latest on that. Who should be taking it? And do we need to study it more to see if it is doing this kind of relapse thing?
Okay, good questions. First of all, the idea of a rebound following the discontinuation of Paxlovid is not a reason not to take it, because what we're asking Paxlovid to do is to keep us out of the hospital. And thus far, it continues to be very successful in doing that. Your second question, who should take it? Those who are at high risk, either because of age or an underlying condition, should take Paxlovid. And your third question, yes, we do need to learn more about that as to whether or not, and studies are going to be conducted to ultimately answer those questions, as to whether or not we might need a longer duration of therapy for some people. Those are the things that really are unanswered question at this point.
Let's talk about masks. You briefly mentioned that. I know where you are, you're seeing this at restaurants, at events. A lot of people feel a little bit more confident, especially if they've had COVID. They're going out there, they're going to restaurants, they're either sitting outside or inside. Even within a building like where I am now, you see some people wearing masks, some people not wearing masks. Are masks still effective? A, with these variants, this latest variant, and B, are they still as effective because so many people are not wearing them?
Well, yeah, again, great questions. Yes, masks are still effective regardless of what the variant is. If you wear a good mask, an N95, a KN95, a mask that is well fitted, it will protect you from being infected. And if you are infected and asymptomatic, it would help in preventing you from spreading infection. Because you go into a situation where many people are not wearing masks is not a reason for you not to wear a mask, because you can still protect yourself very well with a properly fitted, adequate mask.
All great information, as always, Dr. Fauci, with the situation changing, by the month with this, as we've seen over the course of the last couple of years. I'd like to switch gears briefly to monkeypox. Who is most at risk for monkeypox, and how is this virus spreading right now in the U.S.?
Well, if you look at the numbers, the overwhelming proportion of people who have been infected are men who have sex with men. But it is not exclusive to that demographic group. It is an infection that is spread by close physical contact, skin to skin contact. We are having increasing numbers of cases. The United States, we have about 1,000 cases, and that's probably an undercount. So it's something we need to take seriously, not to panic by it, because we do have a lot of understanding of it, as well as countermeasures. There are vaccines that are available to prevent and respond to monkeypox. There are antivirals that are available. So we're not in the dark about this, although we really must take it seriously, because it is, in fact, spreading at a rate that we feel we must address with testing and with vaccinations.
All right, Dr. Anthony Fauci, always great to talk with you, always great to have your expertise. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Good. Thank you for having me. Good to be with you.
The Trump family is grieving tonight, dealing with the loss of Ivana Trump, the mother of the former president's 3 oldest children. She passed away at the age of 73. Amy Robach has details and reaction from her children.
She helped her husband build an empire well before he won the White House. And tonight, the former president and his children mourning Ivana Trump. The NYPD responding to a 911 call shortly after noon from her apartment on Manhattan's Upper East Side. The 73-year-old was found at the bottom of the stairs, unconscious and unresponsive. She was pronounced dead on the scene. Her ex-husband announcing her death on social media. I am very saddened to inform all of those that loved her, of which there are many, that Ivana Trump has passed away at her home in New York City. He said she was a wonderful, beautiful, and amazing woman who led a great and inspirational life. Her pride and joy were her 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. She was so proud of them, as we were all so proud of her. Rest in peace, Ivana. Eric Trump seen tonight leaving his mother's home.
It's been a very sad day, guys. Very sad day.
Earlier, he posted this picture and a statement from the family. Our mother was an incredible woman, a force in business, a world-class athlete, a radiant beauty, and caring mother and friend. Ivana Trump was a survivor. She fled from communism and embraced this country. She taught her children about grit and toughness, compassion, and determination. Ivana Trump met her future husband in 1976. She was a model, he a budding mogul. The next year, they were married.
Look and the brain and the energy and the really potentials, Don always had a great head on his shoulder. And I saw the potential, really.
She's a very nice woman, a very nice person. She's a friend. She's a lot of things.
Together, they were the ultimate 80s power couple, crafting an image of glamour and excess, coupled with business savvy. She had a nickname for him, and it stuck, the Donald.
As a boss, you have to be a leader, and you have to say what you want. You have to tell them, you have to motivate them.
But it didn't last, and just as the tabloids documented their marriage, they ran with their divorce. And Ivana Trump becoming known for something else, her grit and resilience.
Ladies, you have to be strong and independent. And remember, what? Don't get mad, get everything.
She went on to launch businesses of her own, a clothing line, jewelry, writing several books about her relationship with her ex-husband. When we sat down in 2017, Ivana Trump told me her ex-husband, by then the president, had offered to name her ambassador to the Czech Republic.
Donald called me and he said, if you want to take the position, I give it to you. But I said I would not have a freedom. Bye-bye to Miami in the winter, bye-bye to New York in spring and fall, bye-bye to Saint-Tropez when I spent all summer long, so I declined.
I asked her how they were able to stay friends after such a public split.
The two of you have remained good friends. How does that happen?
Donald during the divorce was brutal. He took the divorce as a business deal, and he cannot lose. He has to win. So it took about 2 years, and after the final situation was straightened up, we just talk, and we are friends.
How often do you two talk?
Talk about once in 14 days. I have the direct number to White House, but I don't really want to call him there because Melania is there, and I don't want to cause any kind of jealousy or something like that because I'm basically first Trump wife, okay? I'm first lady, okay?
What an answer to that last question with a big smile on her face. Amy, do you know anything more at this hour about the cause of death.
Yeah, right now police are investigating whether Ivana Trump fell down the stairs and whether or not that may have contributed to her death. Right now, they've told us there are no signs of forced entry, no signs of foul play, and it appears that her death was accidental. But of course, an investigation is underway as the Trump family mourns the passing of Ivana Trump.
Painful loss for the whole family. Amy, thank you so much. Now to another development in the investigation into the January 6th riots at the U.S. Capitol. In a letter to the House and Senate Homeland Security Committees, the Inspector General said the U.S. Secret Service erased text messages from January 5th and January 6th, 2021. Joining us now with details on all of this is ABC's Rachel Scott. Rachel, walk us through what the inspector says happened after he requested those records.
Yeah, and Phil, this is really notable because the Inspector General is an independent watchdog. So this is the Inspector General for the Department of Homeland Security. Well, he told lawmakers that after his team requested these text messages from the Secret Service, they were deleted. They were requesting them as part of their own investigation into the January 6th insurrection. And typically, once these records and materials are requested, they are preserved. Well, the Inspector General says that there were delays, there was confusion in how these records should be turned over, Phil.
Rachel, I know you've heard some responses from members of Congress already, but first, anything from Capitol Hill or the Secret Service?
Nothing from the Secret Service as of now. We have reached out to them. We have not received a comment just yet, but we are hearing from a top Republican in the Senate. This is Senator Rob Portman, and he is sounding the alarm. He says he finds this all deeply concerning. He says it's essential for the department to be transparent with the Inspector General, Congress, and the American people, Phil.
More to come. All right, Rachel Scott, thank you so much. Now on to President Biden in the Middle East, wrapping up his first leg of his trip there in Israel. He faced tough questions today about Iran's nuclear program and tomorrow's controversial trip to Saudi Arabia. Will he address the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi during his meeting with the Crown Prince? ABC's senior White House correspondent Mary Bruce is traveling with the president tonight.
President Biden meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister today with Iran top of mind.
We will not, let me say it again, we will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon.
But the two leaders disagree over how to stop Iran.
The only thing that will stop Iran is knowing that if they continue to develop their nuclear program, the free world will use force.
Biden has said he's willing to use force, but only as a last resort. His biggest challenge now less than 24 hours away. That face-to-face meeting with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who the U.S. concluded ordered the brutal murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. As a candidate, Biden vowed to punish the Saudis.
Make them pay the price and make them, in fact, the pariah that they are.
But now the U.S. is hoping Saudi oil will help bring down soaring gas prices, though Biden insists this trip is about regional security.
What will you say to Saudi leaders, specifically to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, about the Khashoggi murder and other human rights practices?
My views on Khashoggi have been absolutely, positively clear. And I have never been quiet about talking about human rights.
Biden then pressed again.
So you don't expect to bring up Khashoggi?
I always bring up human rights. But my position on Khashoggi has been so clear. If anyone doesn't understand it in Saudi Arabia or anywhere else, then they haven't been around for a while.
Mary Bruce joins us now from Jerusalem. And Mary, those words we just heard there from President Biden making headlines tonight, that he would not say whether he will confront the Saudi Crown Prince. They just don't seem to want to say much before the actual meeting happens.
Yeah, Phil, the White House and the president are treading very carefully here. In fact, tonight they are still negotiating the specifics of this meeting, which is happening tomorrow. They are trying to choreograph every little detail here, including whether or not reporters and cameras are going to be allowed into the meeting and whether or not we will see President Biden shake hands with the Saudi Crown Prince. Phil.
All right, Mary, we'll be watching. Thank you. WNBA star Brittney Griner appeared before a judge today for the third day of her trial. Joining us now to get the latest on what happened is ABC's Patrick Reevell. Patrick, good to see you tonight. It's our understanding that some people took the stand today as character witnesses on behalf of Brittney Griner. What do we know about them?
Hi, Phil. Yeah, I mean, the hearing only lasted about 2 hours, but Brittney Griner's defense called 3 character witnesses, and they were all from the Russian basketball team that Griner plays for in the WNBA off-season, which was the reason why she was in Russia for in the first place. And the club's director testified, as well as the team's doctor, and as well as a player, and they painted a positive picture of Griner, as you would expect. But really, most experts believe that things like this don't really have much bearing on what the outcome of this trial will be, because they believe that this trial really ultimately is arbitrary. It's just a way of holding Brittney Griner hostage, essentially, in Russia as a bargaining chip. And so what that means is that the only way that there really is a hope for her to be freed is that some kind of deal can be reached with the US, perhaps as a prisoner exchange.
Well, let's talk about that. In terms of the U.S. government's conversations with Russian authorities, obviously we know Griner wrote that very personal, heartfelt letter to President Biden. The White House told us that President Biden, read it and has had conversations with her wife. What do we know about the state of affairs here? Is it looking like the U.S. could get her back?
So the US has said that it's going to continue to try and negotiate for her release. But really what we're following right now is a separate effort. And that effort is by former Governor Bill Richardson. He's the former governor of New Mexico, who is, as we have understood from last week, we learned from a source that he's planning to travel to Russia in the near future to try and hold talks with the Russians to try and find some kind of way of coming to a deal that might free her. And the reason that matters is that Bill Richardson played a role in attaining the prisoner exchange that freed Trevor Reed, the other American, the former U.S. Marine who was held hostage in Russia until May. And so right now we understand that he is hoping that perhaps by this visit he can start to find a path to some sort of similar deal, some sort of similar prisoner exchange that might be used to free both Brittney Griner and also another American held there, Paul Whelan, another former Marine who's also been held there for nearly 3.5 years.
Well, as for Brittney Griner, her trial continues. We know you're going to keep a close eye on it for us. Patrick Reevell, thank you so much. Now to a major development involving prominent South Carolina attorney Alec Murdaugh, already disbarred and accused of an insurance fraud scheme, tonight indicted in the murder of his wife and 22-year-old son. Eva Pilgrim is back on the story for us again tonight.
Tonight, a shocking twist in that South Carolina double murder mystery. Alec Murdaugh, a once prominent lawyer, now indicted in the brutal killings of his wife and son.
Please hurry. Neither one of them's moving.
Murdaugh called 911 in June of last year, claiming to have found the two dead on the family's rural property. But now prosecutors allege Murdaugh shot his wife Maggie using a rifle and his 22-year-old son Paul with a shotgun. The now disbarred attorney already in jail, facing dozens of charges, including stealing millions from clients and even allegedly planning his own murder for insurance money. He has not entered a plea to any of the charges. Tonight, Murdaugh denying he had anything to do with the murders of his wife and son. His lawyers saying he loved them more than anything in the world. Murdaugh's brothers telling me shortly after the murders last year, they just wanted answers.
The person that did this is out there, and there's information.
Saying earlier this week, as hard as it may be to hear, we remain united as one family seeking the truth.
In the midst of the double murder investigation, authorities also reopened 2 other cases, a 2015 hit and run death and the 2018 death of the Murdaugh family housekeeper who allegedly fell down some stairs at the family's home. Now, if convicted in these double murders, Alec Murdaugh could face the death penalty. Phil?
Eva, thank you for that report. Tonight, some good news. As officials say, all of the 44 people once unaccounted for have now been found alive in Western Virginia after a community there was ravaged by devastating flash floods. At least 100 homes were severely damaged from the storm system that dumped a half a foot of rain in just hours. When we come back, the tour bus veering off a Missouri highway, what we are learning about the injuries there. Actor Kevin Spacey in a London courtroom facing allegations of sexual assault. We've got details. But up next, our reporter travels to Estonia to hear firsthand harrowing accounts from people who claim they survived Russian filtration camps they say are aimed at erasing Ukrainian identity. Our in-depth look is next.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any place else. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast, now streaming on ABC News Live.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
in Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
Here at the White House.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
Here along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go. We made it.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
The hottest views in daytime are happening right here.
We talk about things on this show that people don't talk about.
That I can't wait to see. Honest takes from strong women.
We need all hands on deck, and we need it right now. This is the time to speak out.
Unafraid to get real.
We stick by our points of view.
We're all seeing it differently, and that's the beauty of The View.
And that's why the most watched #1 daytime talk show is The View. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
America is being poisoned with fentanyl, and we don't even know it.
Just heard my wife screaming. She told me they had just died.
50 to 100 times more potent than morphine.
Keep breathing, come on. It's poison, it's pure poison.
A few grains of salt worth of fentanyl will kill you.
Just my agency has seized enough to kill the entire country.
ABC News Live presents Poisoned, America's Fentanyl Crisis. The powerful series, streaming free on ABC News Live. Take America's #1 news with you, anywhere you go, anytime, free. Download the ABC News app now. Breaking news, exclusives, 24/7. There for you with one touch. The ABC News app. Download it now. America's #1 news, ABC News. Most watched, most trusted, and streaming live to you, anytime, anywhere, and free. This is ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Free to you 24/7. Watch America's #1 news whenever you want it, wherever you are, anytime. ABC News Live, streaming live and free on all platforms.
Welcome back. At least 23 are dead, including children, after Russian missiles targeted an office building. One of the victims, a 4-year-old, captured on video just before the attack. Her stroller now at the scene of a possible war crime. Russia claims it was targeting military officials inside that building. Ukraine says there were no military targets there. This latest attack comes as questions grow about the number of Ukrainians taken into Russia against their will. No one knows exactly how many, but Ukraine's President Zelensky says he believes the number could be as high as 2 million. Many of them forced to go through so-called filtration camps that human rights groups claim are set up to erase Ukrainian identity, particularly in those communities close to areas now controlled by Russia. But Moscow denies the camps exist, so we sent our Inez de la Cutera to the region. And this is what she heard.
It was the last place he wanted to end up in. But 3 months after Russian forces began bombarding his country, Edward Makarchan found himself deep in enemy territory, pushed out against his will from Ukraine to Russia.
How can I stay in the country that destroyed my life?
The Ukrainian government and U.S. officials estimate there could be as many as 1.6 million Ukrainian civilians, including more than 260,000 children who, like Edward, were forcibly relocated to Russia. They're sent to so-called filtration camps, checkpoints in Russian-held areas where Ukrainians are detained and interrogated. Edward made it out, and he eventually fled Russia by crossing into Estonia. But his odyssey starts in Mariupol. Edward was inside when his apartment was shelled. He was injured and evacuated. At a checkpoint, he asked to go to Western Ukraine.
I told the woman that I wanted to go to Zaporizhia, but she answered that there is no Zaporizhia anymore. A Russian military man was standing nearby who said that Kyiv had already surrendered.
Mariupol was completely destroyed. No power, no way to communicate, no way of knowing what was really going on.
I thought it was the end, so that woman said you could go to Rostov in Russia or Donetsk. There were only two options.
He ended up in the city of Taganrog, where he says he was again misled, told to get on a train he thought would be going to Rostov, but instead went further into Russia. He says refugees there were used as pawns, paraded in front of state media cameras that waited for them on the train platform.
I was deceivingly taken to Russia. The Russian news said that we were saved from the Nazis. They needed this crowd.
The whole time, Edward traveling with a physical reminder of the harm Russia had done him. After finally getting medical care in Russia, he made his way back to the EU, crossing into Estonia at the border town of Narva.
You can see Russia is just over that bridge down there. All of the refugees we've spoken with here in Estonia, this is how they've crossed over, either on buses or on foot. And some of them tell us it wasn't until they reached Estonia that they finally felt safe.
This former cruise ship in Tallinn now houses more than 1,800 Ukrainian refugees with stories similar to Edward's.
It was the only way. We wanted to go through Ukraine to Zaporizhia, but we're not allowed to go there. Buses had been canceled.
These people don't have a choice. They have to comply, because the de facto choice, the only option that they have, is to remain in the streets and die under shelling.
All of the Ukrainian refugees we spoke with say they were interrogated by Russian officials for hours on end. This man and his mother spending 4 days at one filtration facility.
You have to fill out a form. There are different questions. For example, do you have relatives in the armed forces of Ukraine? Do you know about the location of Ukrainian military bases? And so on.
Their fingerprints were taken, phones hooked to a machine and probed. Men strip searched for tattoos that could indicate military affiliation.
Around 8 times I take off my clothes.
They called each man for interrogation, asked them to undress, took their fingerprints, and checked their phones. Then came my turn. They asked me to undress. They asked me the meaning of every tattoo on my body. They deliberated a long time whether or not to let me go. I realized that they could kill me here.
The U.S. mission to the OSCE says there are at least 18 filtration camps along the Ukraine-Russia border, just like the one in this video that shows a school east of Mariupol where Ukrainians were set to be held by Russian forces in early May.
These are forcible deportations of civilian populations against their will. That constitutes a war crime. They're trying to take away Ukrainians who might have Ukrainian civic impulses, who are patriots, who want to defend their country.
Those who pass the Russians' interrogations are handed this document, which allows them to travel to and within Russia. But for those who don't, ominous tales of torture and people disappearing.
They check all the documents, and if they don't like something, they take everyone to Donetsk, put them in the basement, and talk there. If you are lucky, after 3 days, you may return limping on both legs.
The woman who was sitting next to me in the filtration camp, her husband had been gone for 2 weeks. He was taken away for filtration and not returned. There were at least 10 women I spoke with who had similar stories.
The Kremlin denies it is forcibly relocating Ukrainians to Russia, arguing instead it is taking refugees to safety. Forcibly relocated refugees with no means to travel within Russia and nowhere to stay are then placed in refugee centers. Edward ended up there under the watchful eye of Russian officials.
It was like a jail. The territory is fenced, and there is a checkpoint. I had to walk my dog, and they gave me a hard time leaving. Every time someone left, they had to sign where they were going and give a phone number. They even searched you after you came back.
This refugee says he never got the financial aid refugees were promised and describes dire conditions at the shelter where he stayed for 3 months.
There were 3 meals a day, but sometimes it was not cooked or the food was raw. It became simply unbearable because it was impossible to eat anything.
Refugees are also told to apply for temporary asylum in order to be able to work or get medical care. But some tell us their Ukrainian passports were taken from them during the process. Edward says he and others were pressured to apply for Russian citizenship.
Police on duty at the entrance of the shelter would tell people to go for citizenship meetings. No one could refuse. They said there are no application forms for asylum and that it would take too long. They kept pushing for citizenship.
Just this week, Russian President Vladimir Putin signing a new decree fast-tracking and simplifying the procedure for any Ukrainian seeking Russian citizenship. Now, as Russia fights for full control of eastern Ukraine, concerns that the problem could worsen and that even more refugees might find themselves trapped in Russia. As for Edward,
Justin,
when asked where it is he'd really like to end up, he tells us not Russia, not Europe, but home in Ukraine.
Inez de la Cotera, thank you for that. Still ahead here on Prime, the federal grand jury indictment against the alleged racist gunman who killed 10 black people in Buffalo as that community prepares to mark a major milestone in healing. Did MIT researchers just detect alien sounds? And how does your commute compare to others when it comes to costs? We're going to take a look by the numbers. But first, our post of the day, Beyonce's first TikTok.
In the front and the doms in the back. Ain't taking no flicks, but the whole click snap. There's a whole lot of people in the house.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
How cute.
Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 12 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
Here at the White House.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go. We made it.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
America is being poisoned with fentanyl, and we don't even know it.
Just heard my wife screaming. She told me they had just died.
50 to 100 times more potent than morphine.
Keep breathing, come on. It's poison, it's pure poison.
A few grains of salt worth of fentanyl will kill you.
Just my agency has seized enough to kill the entire country.
ABC News Live presents Poisoned, America's Fentanyl Crisis. The Powerful series, streaming free on ABC News Live.
These days, with so much going on, it's hard to keep up.
While others are recapping yesterday's headlines,
we're bringing you the right now.
This is the busy border crossing. Steel barricades, another strike.
The right now look at the day ahead, how it affects you and your family.
Record high gas prices.
The threat of cyber warfare.
Is peace possible?
World News Now beginning at 2 a.m. Eastern, followed by America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
Streaming here on ABC News Live.
Take America's #1 news with you anywhere you go, anytime, free. Download the ABC News app now. Breaking news, exclusives, 24/7. There for you with one touch. The ABC News app. Download it now.
As of today, in a big way, we have inaugurated abcnews.com.
A lot has changed in our world since Peter made that announcement. But what hasn't changed is the commitment to groundbreaking reporting and innovation at abcnews.com. And here's to everything ahead.
Welcome back. If you are commuting to work these days, you might be feeling more like you're working to commute. So just how much has the price of getting to the office gone up? We've got to look by the numbers. $2,914. That's how much the average American worker will spend on their commute in 2022. That's up $757 from 2021, a 35% increase, according to research conducted by Overheard on Conference Calls, which reviews office equipment. $657 will be spent on the gas to get to work this year. That's 58% hike in fuel costs, and that is a major culprit for the pricey commute right now. The auto insurance, though, and maintenance costs are also up 8% following overall inflation. At $4,040, New York City workers have the most expensive commute in the country. It's up 47% from last year, but Pennsylvania commuters may just have the most to gripe about, a 60% increase in commuting costs in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. And they aren't alone. A more than 50% increase in commuting costs is predicted for at least 10 major U.S. cities. For employees returning to the office and employers trying to retain workforce, a pain point for sure. Some companies are now offering fuel stipends, gift cards, and other benefits to ease the blow. We still have a lot to get to here on Prime. The man wrongfully convicted of murdering Malcolm X is now suing for millions. We have the details. And the TikToker who combined mental health and cleaning. But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com.
With so much at stake in our world right now, we wanted to thank you for your trust and for making ABC News America's #1 news.
And thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues, The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
National parks are incredibly safe places. A crime will happen.
My wife had fallen. She's in really critical condition.
At that time, I thought it was just a tragic accident.
There's still a lot of questions we need to ask.
There were small things that didn't totally add up.
This is 2 lives for Harold that have died now. I was shocked. Something's not right.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart that he did this.
It's the time of suspicion. The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
America's #1 news, ABC News. Most watched, most trusted, and streaming live to you anytime, anywhere, and free. This is ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Free to you 24/7. Watch America's #1 news whenever you want it, wherever you are, anytime. ABC News Live, streaming live and free on all platforms.
The Trump family is mourning the loss of Ivana Trump, the ex-wife of former President Trump. In a statement, the former president says her pride and joy were her children.
Ivana Trump died at her home in New York City, where paramedics were called for a patient in cardiac arrest. In a statement, the Trump family said, "It is with deep sadness that we announce the passing of our beloved mother, Ivana Trump." The family called her an incredible woman, a force in business, a world-class athlete, a radiant beauty, and caring mother and friend. She was former President Trump's first wife and mother of his 3 eldest children, who survive her along with 10 grandchildren. Ivana Trump was 73.
The summer surge of COVID cases hasn't peaked yet. CDC data shows the U.S. is averaging more than 123,000 new cases a day, up more than 14% the last week. Federal funding for COVID testing, vaccinations, and treatments is running out. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi at her weekly briefing called on the Senate to finalize a measure and add funding to combat the rise in monkeypox cases. In California, Los Angeles County is preparing to bring mask mandates back. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti says it's unclear how well a new mandate date would be followed.
A federal grand jury returning with an indictment charging the suspect in the mass shooting at a Buffalo supermarket with hate crimes.
The 27-count indictment charged Peyton Gendron with 10 federal counts of hate crimes resulting in death, among other offenses, and alleged substantial planning and premeditation to commit an act of terrorism. Federal prosecutors said Gendron willfully caused the death of 10 black people because of their race and color. The securing of the indictment allows Attorney General Merrick Garland to begin to consider whether Gendron should face the death penalty if convicted.
It comes the same day that a ceremony was held in Buffalo to remember the 10 people killed in that shooting. The top supermarket is scheduled to reopen to the public tomorrow. A tour bus with 28 passengers on board crashing in Missouri overnight. Emergency officials reported the bus had driven off the road in Eugene, Missouri, and struck a house. A crash report from the Missouri State Highway Patrol said the driver fell asleep and that the bus struck multiple ditches, a house, a shed, and a fence before coming to a stop. 14 people were taken to the hospital with minor to moderate injuries.
A man wrongfully convicted of murdering Malcolm X sued New York City today.
Muhammad Aziz spent 20 years in prison for a crime he did not commit, murdering Malcolm X in 1965 at the Audubon Ballroom. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office moved to vacate Aziz's conviction last year, and now he's suing the city for malicious prosecution and denial of due process rights. The lawsuit said Aziz's wrongful conviction and imprisonment were not a random miscarriage of justice in an otherwise functioning law enforcement regime, but rather the result of misconduct. He's seeking at least $40 million, and since Aziz is 84, his attorney said compensation should not be delayed.
Astronomers at MIT have picked up radio signals from a galaxy far, far away. The school announcing the detection of a new fast radio burst, or FRB, which are radio waves of unknown origin. Hundreds of FRBs have been detected since 2007, and normally they last for a few milliseconds. But this new one lasts for up to 3 seconds, with radio waves bursting every 0.2 seconds in a pattern similar to a heartbeat. The signal is coming from several billion light years away. The source itself is a mystery, but researchers believe it could be coming from a radio pulsar or magnator, both of which are types of neutron stars.
From the Oscar stage to a courtroom across the pond, today, actor Kevin Spacey faced a judge amid accusations of sexual offenses. The 62-year-old entered a plea as the judge set a date for his trial to begin. Here's ABC's Ian Pannell.
Not guilty, said actor Kevin Spacey. There were no comments to the gathered press as Kevin Spacey entered and exited the Old Bailey, the famous Central Criminal Court of England and Wales, the venue for many of Britain's highest-profile criminal trials. The two-time Oscar-winning actor is accused by 3 men in England of sexual assault.
Step back. Step back.
The charges against Spacey date back almost 20 years. Alleged incidents that took place in London between March 2005 and August 2008. He now faces 4 counts of sexual assault and 1 count of causing a person to engage in penetrative sexual activity without consent. All charges his lawyer says Spacey strenuously denies. In a statement given exclusively to ABC News Good Morning America in late May, Spacey said he appreciated the Crown Prosecution Service's statement, in which they carefully reminded the media and the public that he's entitled to a fair trial and innocent until proven otherwise. He also said that while he's disappointed with their decision to move forward, he will voluntarily appear in the UK as soon as can be arranged and defend himself against these charges, which he says he's confident will prove his innocence.
Move to the side!
And so it happened. Spacey appearing in court in June after he was formally charged with the sex offences. The court granting unconditional bail and allowing Spacey to return to the United States.
Linda would have swayed him. There's no better way to overpower a trickle of doubt than with a flood of naked truth.
Once one of Hollywood's biggest stars, Spacey largely disappeared from public view after actor Anthony Rapp accused him in 2017 of sexually abusing him at a party when he was 14. Spacey has also denied those allegations, while he faces a sex abuse lawsuit in the US federal court in New York. In 2017, he was also charged with sexual assault against an 18-year-old busboy, but prosecutors dropped the charge after their case fell apart. The trial in England is expected to last from 3 to 4 weeks. If he's found guilty of sexual assault, Spacey could face a 6-month prison sentence or a fine, while the other offences carry a maximum punishment of life in prison.
Our thanks to Ian Pannell for that. Now to a new move from Netflix, a lower-cost, ad-supported subscription plan. It's something the streaming giant has resisted, but the platform claims it is losing subscribers for the first time in years. Here's Kaylee Hartung.
Netflix is weathering one of the roughest periods in its 25-year history.
Yes, I had a horrible idea we were going in this direction.
I am suffering.
Losing 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter of 2022, and now bracing to lose another 2 million in the second quarter. Its stock price tanking. The service blaming competition in the market, inflation, pandemic disruption, and widespread password sharing for its problems.
Chrissy, wake up! I don't like this! Chrissy, wake up!
Claiming that in addition to its 221.6 million subscribers, accounts are being shared with over 100 million non-paying households.
You are the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires.
Preparing to change the game for subscribers. Announcing a new partnership with Microsoft to offer a cheaper subscription plan supported by commercials, something it had avoided for years.
If you're currently a Netflix subscriber and you don't want the ads, you don't have to get them. This is really Netflix's idea of getting more people to buy the service by offering it at a lower cost.
The strategy to add ads is expanding through the streaming world, as Disney Plus is set to launch its own ad-supported version later this year, joining streamers like Paramount Plus and Peacock.
Birds of a feather flock together. I am not flocking with that bird.
A lot of the streamers are realizing that people's wallets aren't infinite, and so they're trying to offer cheaper alternatives, and commercials, just like on regular TV, are helping to pay some of that freight.
Every night is movie night.
Kaylee Hartung, thank you. We turn now to our weekly segment, TikTok, where we take a pretty close look at the story behind the sensation. Our next guest has made a name for herself by combining two passions, mental health and cleaning. In just a year, Brogan Ingram, also known as Not the Worst Cleaner, has earned nearly 4 million followers and 40 million likes for her videos about cleaning and organizing, with an emphasis on overcoming barriers related to mental health. Take a look. Clean. Brogan joins us now. Brogan, thanks so much for taking the time to be here. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
I mean, I will say first off, I would think most of your followers will say when they watch you clean a room, it starts, in disarray, and then it's clean at the end. Just watching one of your videos, I feel more organized. Some people see cleaning as a chore. And it can be especially challenging for those with mental health issues. But you make cleaning look fun and engaging, certainly with the amount of energy you put into it. When did you know that this is something that you wanted to do?
I've always wanted to help people. Since I was young, it was something I knew I wanted to do, which was why I did years of psychology in university. It was in my early 20s that I realized how big the correlation between mental health and cleaning actually was and how low the awareness of it was. So I really wanted to combine the two passions and just bring awareness to the subject.
Yeah, after listening to a lot of your videos, it doesn't surprise me that you had years of psychology at university, because I can hear it while you're cleaning, which I think is the purpose. You started offering free cleaning for people in need. Tell us about that project.
When I first started on social media, I actually did fundraising for to be able to pay for cleaners to go in and clean houses for people who were in unlivable situations. After a while, I realized that a lot of the cleaners were rejecting these houses because the jobs were too big and it was too much. So I decided to switch it up a little bit and help out my local community.
What's your favorite room to clean and why? I think I've seen you do a video on it, but tell our viewers what your favorite room is to clean and why.
Definitely the bathrooms. I just find it the most satisfying. It's the place that, you want the most clean. It's the hardest to keep clean and the last thing anybody wants to clean. So if you're unmotivated or stuck or having physical or mental health issues, it's normally the first place to be let go.
and to talk about the most challenging space to clean that either you've encountered or that you know that people who have a rough time with it to begin with would have a hard time with.
Yeah, the kitchen's a big one too, especially where there's always food. If it goes untouched for a while, then you start to deal with bug issues and mold issues. I've had a very hard one, the one shown here. It was quite disturbing. There was a lot of bugs and mold, and there was food in the fridge from all the way back to 2018, a lot of it from 2020. So you can tell that COVID hit hard in this household.
Yeah, one of your videos, and I can just picture, I'm not sure what you're cleaning a stove, an electric stove, and you're talking about how, you know, a clean space can help you in so many different ways. It can help you feel better. It can help you actually be better. Just before you go, quick game of rapid fire. When you're talking about cleaning and products, I'd like to know what your favorite product is, say, to clean a stain on a carpet.
To clean a stain on a carpet, it depends on the stain. If it's like a urine stain from a pet, you'd need an enzyme cleaner. But I really like the Hoover has a spot treat cleaner. It is a pet cleaner, but it works great for all spots, especially any stains.
Okay. How about for parents? Any parent out there will know. Crayons on the wall, say.
Crayons on the wall, you definitely want to get an eraser daddy. It won't take off the paint, so it's safe for all surfaces.
Okay, and finally, pet hair removal from everywhere.
Ooh, that's a tough one. You definitely need a good vacuum going at all times, especially if you have dogs and they have, you know, endless amounts of pet hair. There's something called a chom, which is a roller. You can use it on carpets, couches, pillows, and it will pull up any dog hair that doesn't get eaten up by a vacuum.
Thanks so much for joining the series this week. You can find @NotTheWorstCleaner on TikTok. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Found myself organizing my scripts as I was talking to her. Before we go tonight, the image of the day. Take a look at this rescue in central Thailand. It began with this 1-year-old baby calf elephant stuck in what seemed to be a manhole as its mother tried to help. National Park staff and volunteers jumped in as the mother refused to leave, and half of her body eventually got stuck. The mom for a while appeared to be unable to move, so this man, the man you just saw there, stood on her, kind of bounced up and down a little bit. She woke up, and then both returned to the wild. All fine. That's our show for this hour. Stay with ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Phil Lipoff. Thanks for streaming with us. And coming up in the next hour, we are learning more about the surprising death of Ivana Trump and the investigation into the case of a 10-year-old who was raped and got an abortion takes another turn. Stay with us.
America's #1 news, ABC News. Most watched, most trusted, and streaming live to you anytime, anywhere, and free. This is ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news, free to you 24/7. Watch America's #1 news whenever you want it, wherever you are, anytime. ABC News Live, streaming live and free on all platforms. Take America's #1 news with you, anywhere you go, anytime, free. Download the ABC News app now. Breaking news, exclusives, 24/7, there for you with one touch. The ABC News app. Download it now.
With so much at stake in our world right now, we wanted to thank you for your trust and for making ABC News America's #1 news.
And thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
He thought he was God.
He's now one of the most vilified men in the world. He is the everyman. Zelensky is the Tom Hanks of Ukraine.
The fact that a little nice Jewish boy is 5'7" is showing up this KGB agent in the Kremlin.
What do you say to Americans who see Russia and you not only as a rival, but an unfriendly adversary?
Two men at war.
Which Vladimir will take over. The world is not going to be the same.
So what's good to read this summer? Well, Kate and I have decided to jump in and help you.
And we're talking with Oprah, John Irving, and so many popular authors and influencers.
So we want you to join us. Myself, Charlie Gibson, and my daughter, Kate Gibson.
Oh, hey, that's me.
That is you. For the new podcast series, it is called The Bookcase with Kate and Charlie.
We will make sure you love what you read.
Listen anywhere and anytime. The Bookcase Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Phil Lipoff. Thanks for streaming with us. We are monitoring several developments here at ABC News at this hour. The Inspector General says the U.S. Secret Service erased text messages from January 5th and 6th, 2021, after oversight officials requested to see them. In a letter to members of Congress, the inspector said the Department of Homeland Security held off on giving the documents for weeks, saying attorneys had to review them first. He says DHS notified him the records were erased as part of a device replacement program. A lawyer for an Indiana doctor who said she performed an abortion on a 10-year-old girl who traveled from Ohio is now pushing back on a statement made by Indiana's Attorney General, who said he's investigating whether the abortion and alleged sexual abuse of the child were reported. The doctor's lawyer says she followed all laws and regulations, and they are now considering legal action against the Attorney General. A man has been charged in that girl's rape. Making a stop at Senator Ted Cruz's offices and home in Houston today, a mile-long convoy of 52 school buses filled with personal memories of children killed in shootings since 2020. It was organized by Manuel and Patricia Oliver, whose son was killed in the Parkland school shooting. They want Cruz to renounce funding from the NRA and support universal background checks. For his part, Cruz's office says he has already introduced legislation to increase school resource officers and hire more school-based mental health professionals. The Trump family is grieving tonight, dealing with the loss of Ivana Trump, the mother of the former president's 3 oldest children. She passed away at the age of 73. Our Amy Robach has details and reaction from her children.
She helped her husband build an empire well before he won the White House. And tonight, the former president and his children mourning Ivana Trump. The NYPD responding to a 911 call shortly after noon from her apartment on Manhattan's Upper East Side. The 73-year-old was found at the bottom of the stairs, unconscious and unresponsive. She was pronounced dead on the scene. Her ex-husband announcing her death on social media. I am very saddened to inform all of those that loved her, of which there are many, that Ivana Trump has passed away at her home in New York City. He said she was a wonderful, beautiful, and amazing woman who led a great and inspirational life. Her pride and joy were her 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. She was so proud of them, as we were all so proud of her. Rest in peace, Ivana. Eric Trump seen tonight leaving his mother's home.
It's been a very sad day, guys. Very sad day.
Earlier, he posted this picture and a statement from the family. Our mother was an incredible woman, a force in business, a world-class athlete, a radiant beauty, and caring mother and friend. Ivana Trump was a survivor. She fled from communism and embraced this country. She taught her children about grit and toughness, compassion and determination. Ivana Trump met her future husband in 1976. She was a model, he a budding mogul. The next year, they were married.
Look and the brain and the energy and the really potentials, Don always had a great head on his shoulder. And I saw the potential, really.
She's a very nice woman, a very nice person. She's a friend. She's a lot of things.
Together, they were the ultimate 80s power couple, crafting an image of glamour and excess, coupled with business savvy. She had a nickname for him, and it stuck, the Donald.
As a boss, you have to be a leader, and you have to say what you want. You have to tell them, you have to motivate them.
But it didn't last, and just as the tabloids documented their marriage, they ran with their divorce. And Ivana Trump becoming known for something else, her grit and resilience.
Ladies, they have to be strong and independent. And remember, what? Don't get mad, get everything.
She went on to launch businesses of her own, a clothing line, jewelry, writing several books about her relationship with her ex-husband. When we sat down in 2017, Ivana Trump told me her ex-husband, by then the president, had offered to name her ambassador to the Czech Republic.
Donald called me and he said, if you want to take the position, I give it to you. But I said I would not have a freedom. Bye-bye to Miami in the winter, bye-bye to New York in spring and fall, bye-bye to Saint-Tropez when I spent all summer long, so I declined.
I asked her how they were able to stay friends after such a public split.
The two of you have remained good friends. How does that happen?
During the divorce was brutal. He took the divorce as a business deal, and he cannot lose. He has to win. So it took about 2 years, and after the financial situation was straightened up, we just talk, and we are friends.
How often do you two talk?
Talk about once every 14 days. I have the direct number to White House, but I don't really want to call him there because Melania is there, and I don't want to cause any kind of jealousy or something like that because I'm basically first Trump wife, okay? I'm first lady, okay?
Amy Murdaugh, thank you for that. Next to the pandemic, a new surge in cases and a troubling rise in the number of COVID-related deaths, an increase of 10% in just the past week. Los Angeles County, the most populous in the country, now considering a possible return to mandatory masking indoors. Here's ABC's chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman.
Tonight, the nation's largest county is on track to return to an indoor mask mandate in 2 weeks.
We're saying there is need to worry. This variant is, as everybody has noted, highly infectious, easily transmitted.
LA County, home to 10 million people, now seeing high COVID transmission. Hospitalizations up 88% in LA County and doubling across the country since April.
You have to be as prudent and careful as possible.
This latest wave fueled by that highly transmissible subvariant, BA.5.
We do know it to be more transmissible and more immune evading.
And the number of Americans dying of COVID is once again climbing, up 10% in just the last week. Nearly 350 deaths reported every day. But in New York City, where new cases are up 30% in the past 2 weeks, officials have scrapped their color-coded COVID alert system and are working on a new one. Many don't want to take a step back.
I don't feel like I need to wear a mask at this point.
And it's not just on the coasts. 3/4 of Americans are now living in counties at medium or high risk for COVID. So the CDC is urging people in those high-risk areas to mask up indoors and those in medium-risk areas to consider masking based on individual risk.
All right, Matt Gutman from Los Angeles, thank you. And with the COVID-19 infection rate rising again, we wanted to get some up-to-date information on this particular variant. What's different this time, and what do we need to do to protect ourselves and our loved ones? Dr. Anthony Fauci, President Biden's top advisor on COVID-19, joins me now to talk a little bit more about this. Dr. Fauci, thanks so much for taking the time. We know you're busy.
Good to be with you. Thank you for having me.
For much of the pandemic, there has been this sort of conventional wisdom that if you've recovered from COVID, you have some level of antibody protection, at least for a period of time. Is that true? If so, is it still true with BA.5?
Yes, it is true. The thing about BA.5 that is disconcerting is that it is able to escape some of the immune protection that you get from prior infection as well as vaccination. The good news is that vaccinated and boosted people, particularly those who receive the full component of the boosting, are generally pretty well protected against severe disease leading to hospitalization and, unfortunately, in some cases, to death. But it is a evading type of a variant because it does evade to a greater extent the protection that you would have gotten from a vaccine. So in other words, it has a transmission advantage over the prior variants. It's something that we can do something about. Part of your second question is that we can, in fact, do something about that by getting vaccinated, by getting boosted. If you're in an area where there's a high density or dynamic of infection, and the CDC coding of that puts you in what's called an orange zone, then it is recommended that you wear a mask in an indoor congregate setting, as well as getting tested to see if you might be positive and not really know it because you have minimal or no symptoms, to protect family members and those to whom you come in contact with. Those are the kind of things we do. And we also have good antiviral drugs. So if a person, particularly someone at high risk because of age or underlying condition, gets infected, they should know that there are good antivirals like Paxlovid and a monoclonal antibody, bebtelovimab, that are available.
Well, since you mentioned Paxlovid, let's talk about that for a minute. I know you have some experience with that particular drug. You took it when you had COVID. A lot of people have been taking it, but I'm interested because my own personal example, I had COVID along with my wife. She was suggested to take it. My doctor said, don't take it because of the potential of a relapse a couple weeks out. So let's get the latest on that. Who should be taking it? And do we need to study it more to see if it is doing this kind of relapse thing?
Okay, good questions. First of all, the idea of a rebound following the discontinuation of Paxlovid is not a reason not to take it. Because what we're asking Paxlovid to do is to keep us out of the hospital. And thus far, it continues to be very successful in doing that. Your second question, who should take it? Those who are at high risk, either because of age or an underlying condition, should take Paxlovid. And your third question, yes, we do need to learn more about that as to whether or not, and studies are going to be conducted to ultimately answer those questions, as to whether or not we might need a longer duration of therapy for some people. Those are the things that really are unanswered question at this point.
Let's talk about masks. You briefly mentioned that. I know where you are. You're seeing this at restaurants, at events. A lot of people feel a little bit more confident, especially if they've had COVID. They're going out there. They're going to restaurants. They're either sitting outside or inside. Even within a building like where I am now, you see some people wearing masks, some people not wearing masks. Are masks still effective? A, with these variants, this latest variant, and B, are they still as effective because so many people are not wearing them?
Well, yeah, again, great questions. Yes, masks are still effective regardless of what the variant is. If you wear a good mask, an N95, a KN95, a mask that is well fitted, it will protect you from being infected. And if you are infected and asymptomatic, it would help in preventing you from spreading infection. Because you go into a situation where many people are not wearing masks is not a reason for you not to wear a mask, because you can still protect yourself very well with a properly fitted, adequate mask.
All great information, as always, Dr. Fauci, with the situation changing, by the month with this, as we've seen over the course of the last couple of years. I'd like to switch gears briefly to monkeypox. Who is most at risk for monkeypox, and how is this virus spreading right now in the U.S.?
Well, if you look at the numbers, the overwhelming proportion of people who have been infected are men who have sex with men. But it is not exclusive to that demographic group. It is an infection that is spread by close physical contact, skin-to-skin contact. We are having increasing numbers of cases. The United States, we have about 1,000 cases, and that's probably an undercount. So it's something we need to take seriously, not to panic by it, because we do have a lot of understanding of it, as well as countermeasures. There are vaccines that are available to prevent and respond to monkeypox. There are antivirals that are available. So we're not in the dark about this, although we really must take it seriously, because it is, in fact, spreading at a rate that we feel we must address with testing and with vaccinations.
All right, Dr. Anthony Fauci, always great to talk with you, always great to have your expertise. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Good. Thank you for having me. Good to be with you.
Now to President Biden in the Middle East, wrapping up his first leg of his trip in Israel. He faced tough questions today about Iran's nuclear program and tomorrow's controversial trip to Saudi Arabia. Will he address the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi during his meeting with the Crown Prince? ABC's senior White House correspondent Mary Bruce traveling with the president tonight.
President Biden meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister today with Iran top of mind.
We will not, let me say it again, we will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon.
But the two leaders disagree over how to stop Iran.
The only thing that will stop Iran is knowing
that if they continue to develop their nuclear program, the free world will use force.
Biden has said he's willing to use force, but only as a last resort. His biggest challenge now less than 24 hours away, that face-to-face meeting with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who the U.S. concluded ordered the brutal murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. As a candidate, Biden vowed to punish the Saudis.
Make them pay the price and make them, in fact, the pariah that they are.
But now the U.S. is hoping Saudi oil will help bring down soaring gas prices, though Biden insists this trip is about regional security.
What will you say to Saudi leaders, specifically to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, about the Khashoggi murder and other human rights practices?
My views on Khashoggi have been absolutely, positively clear. And I have never been quiet about talking about human rights.
Biden then pressed again.
So you don't expect to bring up I always bring up human rights. But my position on Khashoggi has been so clear. If anyone doesn't understand it in Saudi Arabia or anywhere else, then they haven't been around for a while.
Mary Bruce traveling with the president tonight. Mary, thank you. To the war in Ukraine now. The Russian missiles targeted an office building not far from the front lines in central Ukraine. At least 23 people were killed, including 3 children, more than 100 others injured. Ukraine's President Zelensky calling Russia's attacks on civilians an open act of terrorism. ABC's Tom Sufi-Burridge is there.
Tonight, death and destruction in the heart of Vinnytsia in central Ukraine. Surveillance videos posted by a Ukrainian official showing the moment of impact. Some ducking for cover inside a store. A cyclist thrown to the ground, debris flying everywhere, sheer panic and a shadow descending, likely from the thick column of acrid smoke seen filling the skyline in this video online. And 4-year-old Elizaveta, seen in this video, thought to be taken just before the attack. Killed tonight, her stroller, now the scene of an alleged war crime.
Imagine this area, mid-morning downtown in a major Ukrainian city. And look what the Russian missiles have done here. The Russians would have known that this area would have been packed full of families and children. And your husband works where?
My husband's office was on 4th floor.
On the 4th floor, your husband had an office?
Ludmila's husband, luckily not in his office at the time, but her despair clear.
This car is a graphic illustration of what a missile will do. Look at the way it's riddled with holes, shrapnel exploding everywhere, maiming everyone in its path.
Russia claiming it was targeting military officials in this building. Ukraine saying there were no military targets here and calling it a Russian terrorist attack on civilians.
Tom Sufi-Burridge for us in Ukraine tonight. Now to the state of emergency in Virginia and the chaos after floodwaters tore through there. Tonight, some good news. Dozens who were feared missing. Now everyone has been accounted for. ABC's Trevor Ault is on the scene in Buchanan County, Virginia, with more on the terrifying moments residents faced as the water rushed through their community.
Tonight, that monumental search effort in Western Virginia. Authorities scouring some 30 miles of roads and rivers and 400 structures in the wake of devastating flash floods.
Crews were out all night last night, and there was 5 crews out this morning.
Officials say all of the 44 people once unaccounted for have now been found alive.
At least 100 homes are severely damaged. This street is full of them. If you look up above, you can see houses swept clean off their foundations. This one dragged across the street into their neighbor's front yard.
That neighbor is Robert Reif.
The car got lodged under the house and kept it from coming any farther, so it probably saved my house.
For a time, Robert himself was on the list of people feared missing.
I'm here, and alive and well.
Good. The flash flooding was caused by a stalled front that dumped 6 inches of rain Tuesday night.
Look how high the water line was. This is well above my head. This is basically as tall as the front windows.
With zero cell service and power out to thousands, rescuers marking cars they've searched with pink tape and double-checking there isn't anyone else out there.
And Phil, this is the second significant flood in this region in the past year. In September, 50 people needed rescued and 1 person was killed. In this flood, officials say miraculously everyone seems to have survived. Phil?
Trevor Ault, thank you. And still to come tonight, Sri Lanka's president resigns. Where is he now, and what's next for that country? Plus, known for her powerful vocals and soulful songs, singer Christina Perri talks about her pregnancy loss and search for understanding.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
in Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
Here at the White House.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
Here along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go. We made it.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7 straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
America's #1 news, ABC News. Most watched, most trusted, and streaming live to you anytime, anywhere, and free. This is ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Free to you 24/7. Watch America's #1 news whenever you want it, wherever you are, anytime. ABC News Live, streaming live and free on all platforms.
National parks are incredibly safe places, but crime will happen.
Hey, Mama. My wife has fallen. She's in really critical condition.
At that time, I thought it was just a tragic accident.
There's still a lot of questions we need to ask.
There were small things that didn't totally add up.
This is 2 lives for Harold that have died now. I was shocked. Something's not right.
Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues, The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live. Take America's #1 news with you anywhere you go, anytime, free. Download the ABC News app now. Breaking news, exclusives, 24/7. There for you with one touch. The ABC News app. Download it now.
Welcome back. We are tracking several headlines around the world right now. Grieving relatives received 6 bodies of Mexican migrants who died after a human smuggling attempt last month in San Antonio. Of the 53 people who died, 26 of them were from Mexico. Those brought back overnight included 3 relatives, one of them 19 years old, and the other 2 were 16. Their family planning on burying them tomorrow. Protesters celebrated in Sri Lanka as word spread that that country's president submitted a letter of resignation. He'd already left the country, fleeing for the Maldives on Wednesday, then heading to Singapore a day later. Protesters have accused his powerful political family of siphoning money from the government and mismanaging that country's economy. An amazing discovery found hidden behind a Vincent van Gogh painting in Scotland. Another Vincent van Gogh painting. Art conservators found it during an X-ray examination of the artist's 1885 artwork, Head of a Peasant Woman. The self-portrait is behind cardboard and layers of glue. The gallery is now, of course, looking at how to remove it without damaging the other painting. Amazing. Now to Christina Perri, the singer, talking about her pregnancy losses and being diagnosed with a treatable blood condition that may have caused them. ABC's Ariel Reshef spoke with the singer about her journey and how she's raising awareness for other women.
She's known for her soulful, chart-topping ballads like 1,000 Years.
And who do you think you are? Running around leaving scars.
And Jar of Hearts. Singer Christina Perri opening up after her heartbreaking pregnancy loss and diagnosis with a treatable autoimmune blood clotting condition.
I just had that feeling, that gut feeling like I need to figure this out. So I did all the tests that are standard. So standard in my pregnancy and then standard after loss. And nothing came back. And so instead of accepting that, I was like, no, I'm going to keep digging deeper.
The 34-year-old artist says she had already suffered a miscarriage. Then just 10 months later, she and her husband endured the late-term loss of their daughter, Rosie.
my world was really blown open. That's a type of grief that's hard to explain.
After Rosie's death, Christina searched for answers. Her doctor eventually diagnosing her with antiphospholipid syndrome through a blood test, an autoimmune disorder that affects 1 in 2,000 people and may account for approximately 10 to 15% of recurrent miscarriages.
Antiphospholipid syndrome is an autoimmune syndrome where a woman's own body makes antibodies that allow blood cells to become sticky and increase the propensity for blood clot.
What was your reaction when doctors told you this was a blood condition that was largely treatable and may have caused or at least contributed to both of your pregnancy losses?
It was a relief. It was a relief to know I was right. I knew something was wrong, and I knew it wasn't something maybe I had been doing or, something I could change.
Now the mom of 4-year-old daughter Carmela says she wants to raise awareness and access for other expectant moms to get tested for the same disorder.
I feel like the goal is to just have that general test for everyone, to test for antibodies and to see if your body is susceptible to a blood clot. The more we share, the more possible I think it is to prevent women and families to go through what I went through.
Ariel Reshef, thank you. And still to come tonight, the only girl on a Little League team is standing out for her talent and her adaptability.
Right now, with so much at stake, Sunday mornings, this is the place. Taking on all the tough questions, straightforward reporting, no spin, no hype, no bull. Thank you for making ABC's This Week with George Stephanopoulos the #1 Sunday morning news show versus the competition.
Welcome to This Week.
Take America's #1 news with you, anywhere you go, anytime, free. Download the ABC News app now. Breaking news, exclusives, 24/7, there for you with one touch. The ABC News app. Download it now.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Ready for a little GMA-ish promo? Okay, here we go. GMA 7A every day with Robin, George, and Michael. That's how you start the day. Boom!
America's #1 news, ABC News. Most watched, most trusted, and streaming live to you anytime, anywhere, and free. This is ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news, free to you 24/7. Watch America's #1 news whenever you want it, wherever you are, anytime. ABC News Live, streaming live and free on all platforms.
In Mullica Hill, New Jersey, the only girl on one Little League team is taking the league by storm. And talent isn't all that makes her unique. Reporter Jamie Apodi from our partner station, WPVI, has the story in our local lowdown.
When you watch the Harrison Heat, you can tell there's something different about their star player.
Yeah, dude.
And not just because she's a she.
I think they're surprised that I'm playing. That no one else is really playing as a girl.
11-year-old Zoe Wood from Mullica Hill, New Jersey, has been playing baseball almost her whole life. She can pitch and hit and field. And she's so good, it's easy to miss the fact that she is missing the fingers on her left hand.
Sometimes they're just like, can I ask you what happened to your hand? Or they just don't say anything, they just recognize it.
And what do you say?
I was born with it.
The way that she's been raised is that we never really pointed it out, to be honest with you. We just treated her like everybody else. We never really let it get in her way at all.
Because of her limb difference, Zoe has adapted the way she plays baseball.
And when I catch it, I don't think about it. It's just it's just my instinct to put it there and get it and throw it.
She does that transition with her glove, and I think that I was trying to point things out when she was younger, and she was like, no, I'm doing it like this.
And at the plate, she does it like this. Earlier this month, Zoe hit her first ever over-the-fence home run. And then followed that up a couple innings later with another one.
The first one was good because it never happened before, and then the second one, it went farther, so it felt better to like hit 2 in one game.
For her to hit 1 was unbelievable, but to hit 2 in the same game was just amazing, and just so proud of her.
She's an inspiration for everyone that's out there, and you know, talent is talent, for sure. And it shows up pretty much every time that she's out there on the field for us.
So do you ever have any like aspirations to maybe be the first female player in the major leagues?
That's where I want to try and make it.
So what's your dream?
To be an MLB player, and if not, be a coach there.
Talent is talent. Something tells me she'll do whatever she wants to do. Jamie Apodi, thank you so much. That's our show for tonight. Stay with ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Phil Lipoff. Thanks for streaming with us.
America's #1 news, ABC.